To Arizona Republican Congresswoman Martha McSally. She was among that group meeting with President Trump yesterday. Congresswoman, thank you for taking the time. Did the president make it that unequivocal, Congresswoman? And can you accept that unequivocal view, if that's the case, that the rich are not going to get a tax cut, that some might end up paying more?
Well, first, I was glad to be invited. It was a good group, bipartisan, a bit of an eclectic group. And we had a discussion on a variety of different issues, not just tax reform, infrastructure, health care, DACA, border security. And in our discussions on tax reform, it wasn't, to me anyway, an unequivocal statement. It was more about setting out some principles.
Yeah, but it sounded unequivocal to me, Congresswoman, when he was speaking afterwards.
Yeah.
It looked like the Roosevelt room there. But what was that about? I mean, because that was as clear as I've heard him, and Charlie and I were mentioning this, nixing any tax benefit for the wealthy. Well, if that were the case, I'm just curious.
Yeah,
would you be okay with that?
Well, it's reflecting the conversation that we had in the room. And again, I'm part of the Problem Solvers Caucus, which is a bipartisan group, about 43 of us, equal on both sides. And what we're trying to provide is some bottom-up solutions from the center-right out that are common sense. And in the discussions we had with him yesterday, we talked about job growth and a cut for the middle class. Those are really the focus of a lot of our group.
But that was your priority, right? It wasn't necessarily for the wealthy. The reason why we go through hoops on this is that there is a core group, your counterparts in the Freedom Caucus, 30-odd, largely conservative Republicans strong, very big on a big tax cut, I guess, and a substantial one. And with the goal being revenue neutrality, by that definition, I guess, Congresswoman, they can't be big, right?
Well, but if you look at if we can really create the jobs and have economic growth come from this major tax reform that hasn't happened since the mid-'80s, then that can make up for
by definition,
some of the initial
it wouldn't
revenue.
Be big, right? Isn't that the fear?
Well, again, depending on how it's scored and how we look at it, if you can actually go from 3% to 4% growth, which sounds absurd to some people, but if we really get the engine of growth going, that can give us a couple $1 trillion extra, revenue. So I think there is a way to do this. The focus of, I'm not on the committees, but the focus of the meetings we've had with the Problem Solvers Caucus and with the White House was middle class focus, jobs focus, and that's what we are, really trying to drill down on. And I really think there is a bipartisan solution there, and I was glad that we were invited to be a part of the discussion yesterday.
Was it your sense that the Democrats who were there as well, there were 8 others, Democrats who obviously were invited for some reason, I don't know what the reason was, but they were invited, and were any of them inclined, or did they share with you, I would support an effort like this, the broad blueprints I'm hearing, I would support it?
Well, in the Problem Solvers Caucus, we've been talking about tax reform for a while, and there is some strong support from Democrats. These are fiscally conservative Democrats. A lot of them are new. Some of them are millennials. Some of them are veterans. Some have been here a little while, but they really want to govern, and they see tax reform as a path for helping their constituents for job growth and middle-class support. And so there is common ground there, and we've been working on this for a while, and I really think, again, from the bottom up, we can provide some bipartisan support for a solution that will be ultimately what we vote on.
Do you think you'll have an agreement by the end of the year, and Congress will vote on an agreement by the end of the year?
That is our hope. Hope springs eternal here on Capitol Hill.
And would that agreement then be retroactive to the beginning of the year? Is it your hope as well that that be the case?
That is certainly my hope. I mean, again, we're working through the details. I think if you start to see people as they're filing their 2018 tax returns, seeing a real change, getting money in their pocket, you see jobs starting to come home, corporations repatriating, we're going to start to see game changing in Q1, Q2 if we can really get it done this year. So that's what we're focused on, and I think there's a way to do this that's not partisan. I know we're working through the budget reconciliation process to go that route, but working with these Democrats, I led the effort on our health care proposal with these Democrats, and I'll tell you, we built some trust and faith, and we often caricaturize each other. There's more common ground than you actually think when people are looking at the partisan theater. And I really think we can partner from the bottom up, not the top down, in a bipartisan way that focuses on the job growth and the middle class tax break.